Alright, so we're going to finish off this heart box that I made, and I started it with a slab, same as the circle slab box, except I used a heart cookie cutter for the top, and the bottom I decided to keep smooth, but I used a cookie cutter, same deal for the bottom. Make sure that you have really connected this seam really well with your finger. For this box, I decided to leave the bottom smooth with no texture and put the texture on the inside. So running your finger and a rib and a sponge on this bottom area is going to make sure that that stays on really well. I attached my top, slipped and scored it on, and did the same thing. I smoothed it with my finger, smoothed it with the rib, smoothed it with a sponge. This is going to start taking some of your texture off, so you might want to just do for the wall, and put it back into camera. For this side wall, because you're going to be smoothing the bottom and the top so much, you might want to just do texture in the center of this wall and not on the whole thing. This has been drying for a little while. It's leather, and I'm going to go ahead and the cutting of the lid. So I'm going to do a puzzle lid, and I've already kind of started. You want to draw this on lightly in case you change your mind, like right there. I don't know if I want it that far down. So I'm going to draw lightly until I'm ready to cut. So I'm coming across. See, I don't like that, so I'm going to smooth it out. I'm coming across this, and I'm only going to puzzle in two areas. I'm here and here. So this drop, it's just a very shallow curve. Ooh. And I'm going to go ahead and carry it here. And drop again. So see, this is now drawn on here, and now I'm going to go ahead and take a knife. You can use an X-Acto. We've got a couple of different X-Actos, or a fettling knife. Fettling knife might be too much, so I think I'm going to go X-Acto. And you see that I have my box on a foam square, and I'm just going to start cutting. You can cut a little at a time, or you can go all the way through depending on how soft your box is. My box is pretty soft right now, so I'm able to go all the way through. I'm not rushing, I'm going slow because I want to stay on track with that line that I drew in pencil. I'm almost all the way around, and you can feel it. You can feel when you come back around to where you started. There's my curve, and that's where I started. All right. So now I can pull this off. Sometimes you have to go back around again with your knife. All right, so there we go. So now we have to do a lot of cleanup. A lot of cleanup. Look at that. So I'm going to go in with my finger and start smoothing. You can do this with a rib. You can do this with a paintbrush. I've got a little bit of water here. I'm going to start smoothing this rim and smoothing this rim. See, I put the texture on the inside for this particular box. The circle box, I kept the texture on the outside. You can choose to do either or. I thought I'd do one of each so that I can then decide like better. That's already looking so much smoother, right? This top. And then this one's going to need a lot of help also. If you're going to use your sponge, like I am right now, you don't want to put the lid on right away because it will stick. So be careful with and make sure that you let it dry. You let it dry a little bit before, oops, sorry, I'm way out of frame. Make sure that you let it dry a little bit before you attach your lid back on. And I also like this rubber tip tool to go in here and start dealing with these connections, okay? Because remember that we slipped and scored the top onto this box. So I'm going to go around the whole thing. Go around the whole thing and make sure that is sealed and no air is going to get through there. There we go. Again, if your box is wet, do not attach it yet. Give it a minute to dry. For the sake of finishing this video, I'm going to go ahead and set it on here so that you guys can see what it looks like. You always want to, so normally I would set this, okay, if I wasn't filming a video, I would set this just like that, okay? Make sure that your lid is upside down and super flat so that it dries a little bit more. And when it dries a little bit more, after about 10 minutes, you can begin to attach the lid. Not attach the lid, but put the lid back on. After it dries for about 10 minutes, to let this dry with the lid on because the lid and the box need to be able to shrink together at the same time. So it looks pretty good. I'm going to probably clean it up a little bit more even later, but watch this. And now you've got a beautiful heart box. You want to kind of push it in, make sure that the walls evenly meet. Okay, the walls are evenly meeting before you let it dry. This is what it looks like when you open it up. This is what it looks like when you close it out. And that's it. Always remember to dry slowly. So this box, after you put your initials and period on the bottom, you would take a plastic bag, set it on your shelf, and loosely cover with plastic, just like that, so that it dries slowly. And that's it.